years, the demise of the Superbike has been faithfully predicted, especially in the face of the rise of the adventure bike on the sales charts. True, Superbikes are the least practical of any two-wheeled transport and could even be said to be a complete pain in the ass to live with day-to-day, but what no rival class of bike has ever been able to achieve is the glamour of the Superbike, the sense of occasion when riding or simply looking at one. To master a Superbike and approach its limits, and your own, is to experience a thrill that no other bike can offer. They may be an anachronism in this day and age of health and safety. Where on earth can you use all that performance outside of a racetrack while staying within the law? But to those with any sense of freedom of choice, they are the ultimate tool of rebellion. Far from being on the way out, Superbikes are coming back into fashion. Why else would Kawasaki, BMW and Ducati spend untold millions developing, respectively, the supercharged H2, the carbon-framed HP4 Race and Panigale Superleggera and brand new V4 engine? Far from slowing down, development is continuing apace. In all this development, there have been two glaring omissions, two bikes that have lagged behind all the rest, and it has been all the more painful to witness because these are two of the iconic superbikes. I am talking, of course, about the Honda CBR 1000 Fireblade and the Suzuki GSX-R 1000. For too long they have been the constant bridesmaids to increasingly powerful and sophisticated machines from all other manufacturers, and, while they were still amazing bikes, they were starting to look very old-fashioned. If there is one thing that the buying public wants, it is the very latest thing. So, we've been waiting a long time for these bikes, the Honda more so than the Suzuki, but now they are here. Are they any good? Neither the Honda nor the Suzuki is completely new, but they are significantly re-engineered over previous models. The Honda has a new and very sophisticated electronics package, and, on the SP version, electronic suspension, while the Suzuki introduces mechanical variable valve timing to improve low-down torque and flatten the torque curve throughout the rev range. Honda conceived the Fireblade back in 1992 with the core principles of optimal power-to-weight ratio, focusing on cornering, acceleration and braking as opposed to outright power output and top speed, neither of which can ever be fully exploited. And it is to these core values that they have stayed true with the new bike. It's lighter, sharper and has an improved power-to-weight ratio some 14% better than the outgoing model. The Suzuki has undergone a similar improvement across the board, with detail differences everywhere. As mentioned, the major new innovation is variable valve timing technology, operated by steel balls being flung outward between two discs by centrifugal force and altering the valve opening and closing overlap as revs rise. What this means in real-world terms is that the Suzuki has a broad spread of torque right across the rev range, something that inline four-cylinder engines aren't known for. Ever since their inception, the Honda and Suzuki have had distinct personalities, the Honda being very user-friendly while the Suzuki has been much more raucous and angry, and this difference in personalities is carried through to the modern interpretations of these two bikes. I have never been a big fan of superbikes, in terms of riding them, because I have never felt I could wring even a tenth of their potential out of them. However, the first time I rode the new Fireblade, it was a revelation. Here was a bike that had so much performance but which was so user-friendly even I could feel like a riding god on it. Okay, so maybe the reality was slightly different, but that is how it made me feel, not like some incompetent fool at whom the bike was a laughing. The Fireblade is physically small, it feels light and nimble, and forget it being down on quoted power over the Suzuki, or any other superbike, for that matter, it is plenty fast enough. Slice through a corner and suddenly you understand Honda's focus on chassis dynamics over sheer horsepower. This bike is so easy to ride. It doesn't need muscling around, it goes where you think. In the right hands it could go very fast indeed, but in lesser hands it still feels like an occasion. It flatters the rider and makes you feel good about yourself. Step off the bike, walk away and look back and the Honda wins again. It may be a subjective view, but the Honda is the best looking of the current crop of superbikes. This is no Japanese piece of logical design, this has the flair of an Italian stylist, it is a work of art and it is beautifully put together. The quality is superb wherever you look. Jump onto the GSX R1000 immediately after riding the Blade and the differences are minimal. It's still an uncompromising riding position, one that only makes sense once on the move. But there is something else, a sense of purpose that is missing on the Honda, a sense that this is going to be a whole different kettle of fish. And so it turns out. The Suzuki does feel a lot more vicious out on track, not in a bad way, but it feels a little more untamed, if I can say that. In my hands, it was probably no quicker than the Honda, the limiting factor for both being the rider, but it went about its business in a much more aggressive manner. This trait means that the Suzuki requires a firmer hand at the controls and rewards a higher skill level from its rider. It's not that it's difficult to ride, just that it takes more to get the best out of it, and this is something that has been a characteristic of the GSX R1000 since its inception. In terms of electronics, there isn't much to choose between the two bikes. Both have multi-level traction control and ABS, while the Honda dials in engine braking adjustment. Of course, the SP version of the Honda adds electronic suspension and a quick shifter, up and down the box, but that adds another $60,000 to the price tag. The R version of the GSX R1000 will be with us very soon and will come in around the same price as the SP, but it's not clear just yet what the differences over the standard bike will be. Talking of quick shifters, here is my bone of contention with both these bikes. Why on earth does a sports bike costing $250,000 not come with a quick shifter? It is available as an extra cost option on both bikes, R7,000 on the Suzuki and R12,000 on the Honda, but why must we pay for it? Yes, it is standard on the SP and R models, but it seems that the manufacturers are holding something back for those premium models at the expense of the models that most people will buy. It seems a bit unfair to penalize customers who are already spending a shed load of money on what should be the flagship model, or was until the recent trend of making super bikes. In fact, I was so indignant about this that I spoke to Suzuki about it and they were happy to tell me that, from now on, every new GSX R1000 will come with the quick shifter as standard at no extra cost, not because I'd complained, you understand. Just out of the goodness of their hearts. Bless them. The GSX-R cannot compete with the Honda in build quality. It's not bad, don't get me wrong, but the Honda definitely has the edge, and, let's be clear, we are talking here about fit and finish quality and not engineering quality. Suzukis have always been bulletproof on the engineering side of things. However, and this is again subjective, the Suzuki cannot compete on looks. Some elements, such as the headlight, are distinctly old-fashioned and, as for that silencer, let's just say that it could be a little smaller. So, which one should you buy? At the end of the day, it all comes down to personal preference. It is amazing that two bikes that share the same specification can feel so different. Both are intimidatingly fast, but that's where the comparison ends. They have such different natures and go about their business in different ways. One bike seems to look after you while the other feels like it wants to kick your head in, laughing while it does it. But still you want to get on and ride it. Modern electronics have made superbikes accessible to everyone. You can push harder, lean further and open the throttle sooner, knowing that you will come out the other side in one piece. True, you'll still scare yourself silly, but isn't that half the fun?